Hey, what's up guys? Houston here. Look, if you have no credit or you have bad credit or you made the mistake of having somebody saying that they can fix your credit and they wiped off everything on your credit file and you have to start rebuilding your credit, I'm going to show you the best cards to go after. Also, for those of you that have no credit, thin credit file, or rebuilding your credit, I'm going to show you a trick I'm going to show you a hack on how to possibly help aid your credit file. Alright, that being said, let's talk about some of these credit cards and understand that these credit cards, you don't have to have a deposit. There's a lot of credit cards out there where if you don't have no credit, or you have bad credit, or you're restarting your credit, they want you to put money up front. Well, these are unsecured credit cards, okay? And these credit cards, they're not bank credit cards, nor are they credit union credit cards, okay? So that would be the second step. This is the first step to make sure that you have the success. That being said, the first card is OppFi. Now with OppFi, if you all familiar with opportune loans, OppFi card is not in every state, so I put a list of the states that it's in. But the good thing about it, OppFi starts you out at $1,000, and then after 6 months of on-time payment, good on-time payment, then they'll double it to $2,000. And if you just a resident and don't have a social, you can still get this your credit card. All right, now the second credit card, if you don't have a social or you rebuilding, Opportune card. The Opportune card starts at $300. Okay, now Opportune does offer personal loans as well. Those personal loans go from $300 up to $12,000. all right, and keep in mind, Opportune is another one of those companies. They're not national, okay? They're not in all 50 states basically, okay? So I put the list of states in the description. Next one is Credit One Platinum card. Now with the Credit One Platinum card, many of us know that Credit One, they have those cards that you have to pay a startup fee and stuff like that. But the Credit One Platinum card, you possibly can get that, and the limit starts at about $300. All right. Now, the next credit card is Credit.ai. Now, all you have to do is just show like you have good bank deposits. All right. And so they will give you a $1,500 credit limit on that. All right, no hard pull on the credit file. Now let me help you all understand something, especially if you have bad credit. This is something that's very important. I always tell you guys, for every negative item on your credit file, you need at least 2 to 3 positive trade lines on your file, okay? And because you need those 2 to 3 positive trade lines, that's the reason you want to go after this low-hanging fruit. Even if you, like I said, if you had somebody clean your credit and they knocked all the positive history off of the credit file and you need to start rebuilding, then this is definitely the cards that you want to go after, okay? And it's going to make sense in a minute, because some of the things that I'm going to share with you, you'll be like, that does make sense. All right, so now, next credit card is Tomo. Now, here's the interesting thing about Tomo. Their credit card goes up to $10,000. Up to $10,000, okay? And the good thing about it, even if you don't have a social, you can still apply for this credit card, all right? Now, with just like the Credit AI, they do want to see if you have bank deposits, okay? So that's one thing you have to keep in mind. Then the next card you want to take a look at is the Patel One card. Now with the Patel One card, it starts at $300 and goes up to $5,000. In a position where you have good income but no credit, or you're rebuilding your credit and stuff like that, and we're going to talk about that hack, those are the cards you want to go after. Now, there's one other thing that I'm going to tell you, that when rebuilding your credit or building up credit and stuff, that's very important, that you should have on your credit file, and that's a secured loan, okay? Now, with the secured loan, most people would probably go to a credit union, which is great. And I'm going to tell you why, because if you have a secured loan with a credit union, they have more flexibility, okay? And so by you having all of these positive trade lines reporting, more likely to give you an unsecured higher limit card. Now, in terms of a higher limit card, how do you get the higher limit card when you have no credit or bad credit? By you having these accounts. Make sure, and this is very important, make sure when you utilize these credit cards, always keep your percentages under 10%. Okay? The longer you're able to keep your credit utilization under 10%, this helps jump up your credit score. Okay? That's the reason. So some people start out with maybe 4 or 5 accounts and they have an 800 credit score. Even people with bad credit, you can jump your credit score up, but you have to make sure the accounts that you have enough accounts on the credit file, and making sure the utilization stays under 10%. All right, if you do that, you're gonna see your credit score jump up. All right, that being said, you to get higher limits, this is very important. If you are married and you have a spouse that has a job, make sure that you're adding their income on to the application. Now, I would not do that in reference to these here cards. I would get these cards on my own. Okay, but once you have these here credit cards I just mentioned, you had these credit cards for at least 60 to 90 days, and then making sure that the payment is paid down to 10%. Then applying, I would start with a credit union. If you're able to get into Navy Federal Credit Union, awesome. Now, again, we talk about Navy Federal. One of the biggest things that Navy Federal is real stickler on, if you're associated with another credit union, and how many accounts you have open with them. All right. So with Navy Federal, with that internal score, it goes from 100 up to 450. All right. Now, with that internal score, again, one of the things that help you, especially the internal score, is for credit cards. Okay, it's not for loans. It's for credit cards, so that you have a clear understanding of why this internal score. Now, with this internal score, the best way to build that internal score, if you're able to do direct deposits with Navy Federal, that's one thing. When you open up a checking account, I would tell you to try to do the flagship checking account. Then if you're able to get the you can get the N rewards card, because it's $200 down after 6 months of good on-time payments. Then it turns into a $2,000 credit card. But I told you about these other credit cards. This should help you bypass that N rewards card. Okay, and you'll be able to get a regular high limit credit card. Okay, now I have seen people with a 555 credit score, but because they had multiple accounts, like I said, they had the direct deposit, they had the flagship account, they had the savings account, they had the they opened up a business account, and they opened up a like a CD, a money market account. Okay, and so by them doing that, they with even a 555, they were bypassed for the N rewards, and they actually gave them a regular unsecured credit card. Okay, so that's not impossible for you to get, even if you have a low credit score with Navy Federal. Now, again, with the secured loan, if you're going to go with Navy Federal, the pledge loan is what you want to get. Okay, but if you're starting out your credit or rebuilding your credit, or you have a thin credit file, those other cards I mentioned, that's where I would start. Okay, because that would give you the advantage to build a stronger credit file. So then when you transition over, I would start with the credit unions before I start with the banks. Start with the credit unions to get higher limit credit cards with them, because they have more flexibility, and then switch over to the banks. All right, schedule a one-on-one consultation with me. Give me 15 minutes, 30 minutes, or an hour, whichever you feel is necessary for you. But let me help you understand how to get the funding you need, whether it's on the business side or personal side.